All right, ready? I'm Meredith.
I'm Elise. And this is your 20s. Hey everyone, how's it going? How are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
It's a loaded question. I think I'm okay. So a little background. This is my new apartment. So I'm in my room right now. I'm sitting at my little vanity.
Woo! You're a grown adult.
I feel very grown, but I moved literally a week ago today, and we're still like getting everything together, and I can literally hear someone. This apartment is like, you can hear everything. Like you can hear the person upstairs like just waking up in the morning. It's great. No, but I do really like it, but we still have I'm literally in the process of moving right now. My room looks put together, but if you step outside of this, it's just boxes and bins and shit to donate, and it's overwhelming. But it's good. I have my own place. I have my own space. I feel like I can do what I want and have my routine, which is really great.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a little uncomfortable right now. I think by next week I'll be feeling pretty good. But
yeah. Have everything, moved in and everything. Comfy.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. And I just started a new job this week. So I feel like that's just been hard to, have time to get things set up the way I want, but also do that job well. So
Also,
life,
disclaimer,
man.
If you are listening or watching on YouTube and we have separate cameras we're looking at too, just bear with us. This is a home studio, home make. But we're glad you're here. So
yeah,
thanks for being here.
That's what it's all about.
So we wanted to do this episode. We know we got a lot of good feedback on the body positivity episode from season 1 with Taylor Hickey, episode number 2. Go check it out. It's a great one. I listened to it quite a lot, to be honest. But we wanted to do one about relationships with food and working out because we obviously want everyone to live a very healthy lifestyle, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And the physical side of things is a challenge, let me tell you. Absolutely. I mean, it's all a challenge, but I guess in my experience, maybe the physical side of, healthiness has been the hardest. So,
yeah,
sure. A big part of that is your relationship with food and with working out and what those mean to you. And I feel like a lot of young women out there, struggle with their relationship, especially with food. So we're gonna address it. We're gonna address it.
And a little bit of background of kind of where we came up with this concept. I mean, we talk about this stuff a lot of the time anyway, but it was actually I think it's important. I'm sure you agree, Elise, to be super candid with this episode because it came from kind of a candid place. But so a couple of weeks ago, I don't know when it was at this point. It might have been a month ago at this point when Elise came to visit me, and we recorded the episode with my friend Emily, and the three of us spent the weekend together. It was super fun. I was at dinner with Elise and Emily, and I don't know what we were talking about exactly, but we got on the topic of eating and working out and all of, just everything that goes with being a woman, the pressures of being a woman, well, a person in general. But I guess we were at a restaurant, and so going out to eat kind of always makes me nervous, I guess. And I didn't get a chance to work out that day, and I was extremely anxious, and Emily and Elise could both tell that there was something going on with me, and I just kind of, again, I can't remember what caused me to come out and say it, but I had explained to them that I've kind of struggle with over exercising and just my relationship with food. I have some disordered eating. I wouldn't call it an eating disorder, but definitely disordered eating. And that I was just really struggling. And so we just kind of got to talking, and then, the conversation went where it went, but the point was that's really what inspired us to start, you know, this episode today. That's where it came from. And I think in our last episode with body positivity, we talked a lot about just body positivity in general, and Taylor brought some like amazing facts and stats, but this is a little bit more candid and personal and kind of getting into the ugly side of it, which I think is extremely important, because you can say a lot of, you know, blanket statements that can be good, but sometimes you need to like just be completely forthright about what's going on in your life. And that's really what me and Elise want to be able to provide with this podcast, is like extreme honesty and vulnerability. And so that's kind of the point. And so we're going to be really honest today and get into that. So yeah.
And it is a very real thing. Like, this is something, I mean, especially women struggle with on a day-to-day basis. And I don't think it's talked about nearly enough.
Agreed. It's only talked about once a month.
That's it. Just once a month.
That's it. That's all you're allowed.
I think also just from being surrounded by women, like we were, I don't have any sisters, but we were in a sorority, and just seeing all the sides of it. Like I have some stories. I'm not gonna ever name names, and people, this not girls in the sorority, just girls in general, where I've just seen like are very worried about everything they eat, and so I guess let's start with food. So very worried about you know, having something sweet or overeating or too many calories, obsessed with macros, obsessed with carbs, like the numbers, obsessed with the number side of things. And I think I've found and because I've been there too. I literally was there my senior year of high school. There I was obsessing. Oh yeah, like I feel like every person, or mostly every woman, has gone through this at some point, and it's different levels for everyone. But I think my relationship with food has changed so much, in the sense where now I recognize food as what it does for my body, rather than how it could harm my body. So like, food is a good thing. Everyone needs food. It's energy for your body. So I don't see sweets as a negative. I don't see I don't see high carb foods as a bad. I just see it as a different form of energy. So I think just appreciating food for what it is, and that is energy for your body, rather than a sin or something you should feel guilty about. That's kind of like what Taylor has told us about the fuck it diet. And I think we've talked about it a little bit. I still need to get
this book.
I need to read it too, because it sounds so fantastic. But I guess that's been my transition with food, and with young women, I've just seen a lot of obsessiveness, and I think that's where the problem stems.
I mean, and so you're kind of in a place where you're definitely more comfortable with it, and I'll be honest, and on the flip side, I'm like definitely struggling with it right now. And so I think it's important to like tell you guys that we're not all the time, like we're on the same page all the time and we got it. Like, that's just not the case.
Like, we have a podcast, so we know we have everything figured out. No,
not at all. The furthest thing from that, actually. Just kidding. We're sort of knowledgeable. But I feel like, I'll be honest with you, even now, like, here's an example. I'm looking in my camera, and all I can pay attention to is what I perceive to be like my double chin.
Fuck
and
that.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't think Elise is looking at me and being like, wow, look at her double chin. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I think I'm at the point right now where everything feels like it's still kind of not all encompassing, but it consumes my thoughts, I'll be honest with you. And I don't think that the pandemic has helped, obviously. I think that's helped. That's hurt so many people in so many different ways, like mentally, spiritually, just everything. It's not pretty. And I think in this pandemic, I've had so much time to sit and think and look at myself in the mirror and think about everything that I'm putting into my body, and scrutinizing everything and counting every calorie. And I mean, for what? Like, what's the point? And it's like, I know this, my logical side of me is like completely aware that this is not it, like, and I've been in this position before, and it's not a good place to be in. But I think the difference now is I have been there before and I know what it feels like and how I'm feeling, and so I'm trying to move through it knowing what I know now, you know, from my past experience, and giving myself some patience with it. And like I came out the other end of it, and I can do it again, but it's an ongoing process, and it feels like exhausting, like it never stops. Like, and I explained this, like I went to dinner with my mom the other day, with my mom and my sister, and I was just sitting there thinking, like, I was kind of binge eating, you know, and like big old trigger warning for all of this, because I understand that this is very real for so many people. So just know that we're talking about disordered eating and bodies and things. So just, you know, if this isn't for you, then don't listen, but, you know, be aware. But I was, you know, felt myself like kind of binging on this unhealthy food. We were eating chips and queso, and I'd been, you know, so good like the rest of the week, and but I just felt like this like anxiety, like I had to keep eating, but I couldn't. I totally couldn't. Like my sister and my mom were like kind of looking at me like, haven't you had enough? Like, I know that sounds bad, but like I just kept going, and I wasn't hungry, and I wasn't full, and I was full and I wasn't hungry, but I just kept going. And then I felt this insane shame and guilt when I got home that night, and you know, did some things to kind of rid my body, one could say, of the food. And I broke down to my mom, and she's like, is everything okay? I can tell something's wrong, like what's going on? And I explained everything to her, and I didn't realize how upset all of this was making me until, like, I'm not even kidding you, the third word that came out of my mouth, I immediately choked up and started crying. And I hadn't cried over it at all before, like the whole, you know, time we've been in quarantine. And I think, I don't know what happened, but like I let it all out and didn't even know the extent to which it was like consuming my thoughts until I said it out loud. And it just made me realize that like I don't have like as good of a grip on it as I maybe thought I did before. And I mean, I wrote a blog post. Wow. a blog post about this, about the importance of checking in. And I think it's just like, it's one of those things where my mom was checking in with me because she could tell, you know, and you don't even realize sometimes that you are like struggling as much as you are. And it's just
that's
scary.
so true. I think you also can think you've defeated it, like that you've overcome it, and then it can come back slowly. Like I'm really big on the law of attraction. If you know what that is, I'll kind of explain. It's like basically what you surround yourself with, who you surround yourself with, what you read, basically makes up the person that you are. So those like comments, I guess, like what you were saying from your family members, like those add up, and those affect, you know, what you think on a daily basis, on a every second. And so I think a lot of times, like in my case too, I think I've overcome it, and I have in a lot of ways. I'm a lot better than where I was, and then it'll come back, and some days are better than others, and it's all about just like being mindful of what's going on, what you're surrounding yourself with, what you're consuming on social media, especially. If it's helping you or hurting you, like be mindful towards that, because that will affect eventually where you, from point A to point B, that'll affect where point B is, you know?
And it's like you said, it's a slow build up process. Like you don't even realize where you're at until you get to a point where you kind of you take a step back. Something causes you inevitably to take a step back, and you're like, what the fuck? How did I get here? Like, it's one of those things where you're not checking in with yourself, and you don't even realize that you need to be, and then slowly it builds up. And that's a scary notion, because I'm all about mental health awareness and taking care of yourself, and it's like my passion. But for me, who's like kind of feels like I'm really with it, to feel like I slowly lost control without realizing that I lost control, I can't even imagine how some people who don't really grasp that concept yet and how important it is might feel when they're going through this, because they might feel like completely spiraling out of control. And yeah, I don't know. It just...
Yeah. I just wish women would understand how majestic and wonderful and beautiful, like, the human woman body is. Like, yes, human body, but specifically woman. Like, a woman's body is insane. Like, just the beauty that comes from all of it.
And, like, yeah, the phases that it goes through to, like, literally bring life into the world. I think we forget about that. And, like, I want to get to the point where I'm, you know, when I'm about to have a kid, because I want kids. I love kids. I want a family. That I'm not, like, so stressed about how I look and gaining weight and getting stretch marks and giving birth that I can't enjoy giving birth to a child and, like, raising a child. And I know that I don't want, especially if I have a daughter, her to ever hear me say those things about myself.
Right.
And to know that, like, I could potentially be, if I were to say something negative about myself, you know, even, like, without thinking about it subconsciously, which we do all the time in front of my daughter, like, she's going to start picking up on those things and thinking that that's normal behavior. And, like, I really don't want to encourage that. And it's just so interesting how it's like, you know what's right and what's wrong on the outside. Like, as a third party, it can step back, but then when you're in it yourself, it's a completely different game, you know?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like, I can't take my own advice, you know? Like, I feel like I give really good advice, but, like, I want to yell at myself sometimes and be like, Meredith, take your own fucking advice.
I do the same thing.
You dummy. Like,
right. And then you're like, wow, practice what you preach, you know what
right?
I mean? But that just means that, like, there's something in you, you know, obviously, that, like, is expressing that and it does believe it, but it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget. So just, like, mindfulness, man. Like, remember what food does for you. Remember what moving your body, working out, and we can kind of transition into the working out, you know, part of this. Yeah. But I want to get your story and, like, kind of where, I don't know, where, I guess, leaving tennis season, especially as, like, a full-time athlete, because I've never had that perspective of an athlete who has to train every day and has a team to support them and stuff like that. Like, I had to learn how to work out completely, you know, by myself and by watching people, and obviously some amazing women in my life taught me how to lift, and I'm very thankful for that and stuff like that. But what was that transition like from going from, like, a team, you know, having a coach, and then also a pandemic that you had to deal with? Like,
I mean, it was hard, but it was also in some ways kind of easy. So let me explain. So, I mean, I've literally, like, you've grown up with, you know, theater. I've grown up with, or theater, you know, theater, singing, the arts, whatever.
Yeah.
I've grown up with sports since I was a toddler. I mean, I picked up a tennis racket when I was 3 years old, and like, I've always played sports. I've always been, like, the most active kid. Like, it just was what I did, you know? And I never, ever, ever, when I was younger, thought about what I put in my body. I was just as free as a bird, because I was a tiny, tiny person. Had a super fast metabolism. I was running around all the time. I was just, like, you know, just like this little girl. And it makes me sad. I might get emotional thinking about it, because, like, that's what I want for myself now, that freedom that I had when I was younger. And I hope that every woman feels that, because every little girl at some point in their life did not give a shit what they looked like. They were just...
Or what they did, or what they said, or
they were just
what they were passionate about. They just did it because that was who they were. Yeah.
So, you know, I got to college, and I had my team, and you know, I was used to being with my team, you know, every single day virtually for almost 3 hours every day, you know, lifting and playing. And, but I will be honest, like, from almost day one of freshman year of college, especially with the girls on my tennis team, I immediately kind of felt this sense of insecurity in myself that I hadn't really felt before, especially when it came to my body type. And so a lot of the girls on my tennis team are just naturally very tiny girls, you know? I mean, they're just skinny. little, whatever. They're just small. They're petite.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not like a huge person. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Right.
I am muscular and I have curves and I have big boobs and wide hips and all these things. And all of a sudden, I just became like hyper aware of all of it, especially when you're in a setting where I think your physical fitness is kind of, in a way, defines like who you are on the team. It was one of the factors of how fit you are and how much you can compete and whatever. And so for the first time in my life, I felt like, holy shit, like, oh, like I need to get my shit in order. And so I went through this up and down struggle of beginning to count calories and, pinching fat on me and like looking in the mirror and just all these different things, these terrible negative thoughts. And I'll be honest with you, I don't miss that. Like, I don't miss being around, not the girls, because those girls are some of my best friends and like my family. I would die to be back with them. I would do anything to be back with them right now. But I don't miss what I was telling myself when I was standing next to them. I don't miss like the comparison game at all. And I feel like the one like nice thing about being in quarantine is, yes, I've had lots of time to self-reflect. And some of those days are totally shitty, but other days I've really learned to just kind of accept who I am. I'm slowly getting there. And you're not surrounded by so many people who you have to like pinpoint all these things about yourself against. So I don't miss that, but it has been really difficult transitioning from training every day of the week, not thinking literally at all about like having to count calories or working out because I was just so active. Right. And that's been hard. Now I find myself, now that I'm home, counting calories more than I would like to admit, using my fitness and my Apple Watch as less of what I used to call my mental health and my therapy of, making me feel good, and trying to kind of trick myself that that's the reason why I'm still doing it. And I know for a fact right now that that's not the only reason why. I am trying to lose weight. I am trying to get skinnier or whatever.
And also, like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to better yourself.
No,
and
not at all.
Be more fit, or even wanting to lose weight. There is nothing wrong with any of this, But, like, the way you do it, that's what matters. And there is something wrong if you're doing it obsessively and doing it negatively, where a bunch of self-hate is coming out. And that's not going to get you anywhere. I've been there. I literally tried that way, and guess what? I gained it all back. Like, it doesn't even work that way, so why even do it?
Yeah, and it's frustrating to say it out loud, because it's like, I know that this doesn't work. Like, I know that I've been here before and it didn't work last time, so it's not going to work this time. But I'm in the process right now of kind of undoing all my bad habits and learning to like literally rewire my brain a different way and start to think a different way.
That's what it takes. It literally takes that rewiring. It's
very hard.
It's like, so hard. Like, give yourself credit. Like, it's hard.
It is. But then you'll have little wins. I found myself having little wins here and there where, for example, last night I ate McDonald's French fries and I didn't feel bad about it afterwards. I was like, whatever, that happened. It's fine. Move on. I mean, like little things like that, where when I was, a few months ago or a couple years ago, when I was in like really in the thick of it, I would have like thought about it for like 3 days after. And it's just, I'm definitely in the process of learning how to stop labeling foods as like good or bad. And I think, like, for me, for example, I'm not saying to, like, not mindfully eat. Like, for me, mindful eating, like, being careful about what I put in my body, I think is a good thing. I'm proud of the fact that I like to eat whole foods, and I like to move my body and work out, and I am a very, like, health-conscious person. Yeah. But, teetering on the line of, am I being obsessive versus health conscious? And I'm trying to get to the point where I really just feel like I have a balance in my life. I think I'm slowly getting there, but again, it takes time. Same with exercise, same with food, and I think with fitness and stuff, my struggle in this quarantine has been like, am I doing enough so that I don't gain weight? Or am I doing, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not comfortable going to the gym yet. And it's just, for me, it's just not worth it.
And
so
you've even told me that, like, you love home workouts.
Yeah.
You found that, you know, during quarantine, which is awesome.
Which is really cool. I mean, I might not even get my gym membership back because I feel like I really have found something that works for me. However, I'm still at the point where if I skip a day of working out, I get really stressed. Even if my body's like, please, no, I don't need any more.
Please.
Yeah, stop. It feels like there are some days where I definitely feel like I'm doing it to burn something off that I ate. And that's not what I want to do it for, you know? It's I want to do it because it literally makes me feel good. Because it does. Like, I love working out. It's not, I don't feel like I have to. It makes me sane, seriously.
Yeah.
But again, striking the balance between my, like, literal mental sanity and then going insane over it. It's just not worth it, you know?
It's not worth it at all. And it's funny that you said, like, eating something then having to burn off the calories. Yeah. I literally remember a time in my freshman year of college when it was, like, later in the night, and we were all just hanging out, you know, all friends. Like, we had this, like, lobby in a freshman year dorm that we called BR Lobby, and we would have the best time. Like, remember that? Like, we had the best times. But I remember one night someone got donuts, and, like, we all had a donut. And I, like, was overcome with guilt because I had ate a donut at 9 p.m. I literally left my friend group, and I went to go put on workout clothes so I could run off the donut. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, really is.
That is ridiculous. I remember being on the run and being like, oh, I gotta get, you know, 2 miles in because that's how much the donut, how many calories. Like, it does not work that way. That is toxic behavior because, like, I had to prove to myself that I was still skinny, which at that time all I wanted to be was skinny. Like, now that's a very different thing. I want to be fit. I want to have curves. I want to, you know, be strong. But back then, a donut wasn't in my skinny agenda, and I was very upset about it. And I knew I couldn't go to sleep without running off those calories. Yeah. And thinking to, like, I don't think I'm where I want to be yet, but thinking to, like, that story, that was 4 years ago, and just seeing the progress there, like, it has taken 4 years, y'all. Like, listen to this. Like, it takes time for me to realize that was not good, you know?
And it's not linear. Like, you are going to have moments where you feel like you have it figured out and you are good, and then you have something that happens that triggers you in some way and causes you to, you know, take the path that you know you shouldn't be following, yet you do it anyway because that's what the brain does. It convinces us that it's going to be different this time. And then you kind of get yourself in a cycle again, but I honestly think the fact that so many women experience this, yet they still pick themselves back up and try, a lot of them at least, to turn the right direction is pretty amazing. It is. Because it's not easy to do. It's not. Like, there's just so many feelings that I feel as I'm saying this and, like, having this conversation. It's exhausting. Like, I can't describe it in any way other than exhausting, you know?
And you have to think back to, like, where does this stem from? Where does the idea that women's bodies have to be a certain type of way? And we have to go back to society, and we have to go back to male domination, honestly, because and this, you know, this goes with the patriarchy and all of that, but, like, men, I know for a fact men don't deal with this. Or most men. I can't speak for every man, but I know for a fact, and obviously women's bodies are different. I don't know if you guys know this, but literally women's bodies are meant to gain more weight, and especially have weight in the stomach region because we have babies. Like, that is just how our bodies biologically, like, that's how our bodies work. But, like, where did it stem that women had to look a certain way and men kind of had more freedom with their looks? And yes, I know men obviously deal with this, and this is an episode for men as well, but we are women, so all I know is a woman's perspective. So I just want to, you know, it's like, it's really interesting. Where did this come from, that there's so much pressure, especially on young girls? Think of, like, 14, 15-year-olds who are going through it. Remember being 14, 15? It was like times 10. So this episode is not for, obviously, people, it is for people in their 20s, but it's also for you girls, young girls, like, listen to this and realize that it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a long journey, but as long as you are choosing to love yourself throughout the entire journey, that's all you can do. And that's step one, honestly. Choosing, I'm going to love myself if I eat this. I'm going to love myself if I've gained 10 pounds. I'm going to love myself if I'm not where I want to be. I'm 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight where I want to be, and I'm going to be on the process of losing that weight because I want to, but I'm going to love myself every step of the way.
Right. And I mean, we talked about that in our episode with Taylor of it's important that like people understand how much of a process this is, and that you are never going to get to a point where you're just like, I'm done. I got it figured out. It's all good. Never going to think about that anymore. Like, that's literally not how it works. It will never work that way, probably until the day you die. You know, I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like you need to constantly be checking in with yourself and be like, wait a minute. Okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? You know, what is my end goal here? You know, it's okay to set goals along the way. That's great. I think goals are so important. But, like, there's not an end goal. The end goal isn't like, when I lose 15 pounds, I'll be happy. Like, it just doesn't work that way because we're human. We're constantly, our brains are wired to constantly want more, to, like, keep growing. We're never going to be, and I know you and me for a fact, are never going to be just, like, content. And like, okay, I'm settled in. Like, that's it. It's always going to be like, what's next? More, which, you know, I mean, that's fine. I mean, and I want to get to the point where I, at 22, am no longer thinking about what my self-worth is connected to how fit I am or how much weight I've lost or what I look like. But I want it to be connected to the fact that, like, I know I'm fucking badass. Like, here's the deal. Like, here's the tea. Here's the tea. Let me spell it for you. And you listening too are also badass. Like, you're smart. You're capable. You're driven. You're funny. You're a compassionate person. You're a sister. You're a friend. You're a cousin. You are so much more to people than how you look. Your body does not define who you are as a person. I can't, you know, and that goes back to what Taylor said, and you know, in episode 2, like, your body, think of how much your body does, think of how much your mind does. With the over exercising, you know, thing, or exercising to burn something off. So we talked about this with Taylor, and she said the best thing. She was like, eating a cookie for one day is not going to make you gain weight, just the same as eating celery for one day is not going to make you lose weight. It doesn't work that way. You know, your body just simply does not. We are biologically developed so that our bodies literally are built to adapt so that we don't die of starvation. Like, I do, like, so, like, it's just, your body is if you are a healthy, normal person with a functioning metabolism, your body's not going to let you get to a certain point, you know? And so the concept to me, like, thinking, oh, I'm going to work off the fucking donut I had, it's not going to make a difference. Like, your body will naturally recalibrate itself the way it knows how to. You don't have to, like, do the work for it, you know? I mean, obviously, do the things that you know are going to help your body function at its highest capacity, but, like, you can't control that. And so I think, like, the concept that you have to, you know, you have to work out so that you can eat is just fucked up, you know? I mean, it's fucked up. And it makes me mad because it's like I'm saying this out loud and I know that I need to just, like, take this all in. You know, and that's why I'm getting so heated, because it's I feel like I'm almost having, like, an internal dialogue with myself right now. Like, come on, Meredith, you know this information. You're smart. You're educated. You know this. You've been through this before. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. And when you're being bombarded with fitness influencers and, you know, home workouts in quarantine, how to stay in shape in quarantine, you know, all this stuff, some of it to an extent I think is helpful information. But then when you get to the point where it's like, this is all I'm consuming, and I mean, I've been on a roll sometimes on Instagram where, like, I'll sometimes look at a fitness page and then my algorithms will make it so that that's the only thing that pops up on my feed. And they're like, I don't want to see any more of this anymore. But then you just get sucked back in. So then at that point, you also have to, be checking the information that you're consuming, and like the law of attraction. You have to be very, very mindful, like head on a swivel about what you're taking in, because everything affects you either consciously or subconsciously.
Protect your energy, people. Protect your energy.
Yeah, for real.
And I also want to talk about going to the gym, because obviously, like, you have found that home workouts really work for you. So I think it's very important to find what works for you.
Yeah.
And I think in the gym, a lot of times what people are very intimidated of is the judgment and the comparison in the gym. So when you're in the gym, everyone knows that everyone's eyes are going around, hopefully there's some cute guys checking me out and stuff like that. I love the attention. That drives me to keep going.
I know you do.
I love attention, y'all. Like, I love being in the gym, and even if I don't feel my best, if someone's watching me run on the treadmill, I'm gonna run faster. Like, that's just who I am. You know what I mean?
Fair.
That's just who I am. But like, if that doesn't work for you, and it bogs your thoughts into like, they'd probably think I'm fat, or they probably think she looks better than me. Oh, he's really cute, but he won't check me out. Like, it completely distracts your mind of why you're actually at the gym. And I've been there before too. Like, some days it's that. Some days I'm like, she looks so good. Like, I feel like, I want to be there and I'm not there and I'm frustrated. Yeah. And then it turns into a negative cycle, which it's not. My gym time is like my happy time. Like, it's kind of like you like.
It should be an escape.
It is. And it mostly is most days. But some days I got to catch myself where I'm like, okay, whoa. Stop looking at other people. You're here for you. Look in the mirror. Do your squats. Look yourself in the eye. And squat. Like, don't look at anyone else.
And squat.
And squat. No, but I think that's a huge part of it is a lot of people, especially, if you're very overweight and you don't know what you're doing in the gym, and you just compare yourself and you see all these super fit, crazy people, and you don't even want to be there. You don't do as much as, you just go home and then you don't come back. Like that. That doesn't work for you. So start by walking outside. Start by doing something else,
Start small. And I think I get that way too. And I feel like I'm very experienced in being in like a physical setting because I was a college athlete. So like, I feel like if anyone should feel comfortable in the gym, it's me. But there are moments where like, I'll be lifting weights with my team, with my coach, and I'm still looking at the girl next to me like I'm literally on a specific program that's meant to help tennis players become better tennis players. Yet I'm looking at the girl next to me who has a bigger booty than me, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not doing enough squats, so I better like change it up so that I can look like her. And I'm like, that again, not why you're here, you dumb bitch. Like, it's so frustrating because, it just is frustrating. Like, that just shouldn't be the case. But unfortunately, that is the case. And I also kind of felt like, and I was talking to my friend Morgan Rowe about this over the weekend on 4th of July. So loves the gym too. I hope she doesn't mind that I'm like mentioning her in this. But we were hey girl. We were talking about how there's this constant sense of like, am I doing enough, or am I doing the right program, or am I going to lose weight doing a certain way, or am I going to gain too much muscle, or like, what's the best thing? Should I be lifting weights? Should I be doing cardio? Is one better than the other? And it's like, you're literally at the gym and you're moving your body. So good on you for even getting there and doing something, because a lot of people don't do anything at all. And again, that's fine. But like, you're there, you're doing something, you're good for you. Like, come on, like, give yourself a little bit more credit. And like, I find myself constantly changing things up because I feel like that's what the fitness world tells us that we need to do. We need to change it up. We need to have a split day program to get the best gains. We need to make sure that we're doing enough cardio every week to like lose fat, but also gain muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat, and muscle burns more. It's like, it's too much sometimes. If you find something, and it will take a trial and error, but if you find something that feels fun, it feels good, you look forward to doing it, stick with that. You're good. You're going to be good. Like,
it's crazy you're even saying that, because I literally had this thought in my head this morning that, okay, dancing, for example, is like the best form of cardio for me. Like, I don't even know that I'm doing cardio because I love it. I love dancing.
It so much, yeah.
And I love running too, but honestly, it's getting too hot to run outside. It's just way too humid. So I've been having to run, you know, on the treadmills, and I hate the treadmills because I could run like 3 miles outside when it's like not as hot, but then doing 1 mile on the treadmill is like a mission to me. I don't know. But so I'm like, I just need to find a better form of cardio where I don't dread it. Like, I want to love moving my body. I want to love it. So I might go search right after this episode some dance classes in Indianapolis because it's just fun. It's just fun. And
exercise should be fun. I think people forget that. And I have to remind myself, what did I do when I was an 8-year-old little girl? I liked to go play soccer and play tennis because it was fun. I wasn't thinking like, oh my God, like this is not hard enough, whatever. It was fun. Like, that's why I liked to do it in the first place. So one thing that I've been like kind of added to my workout routine recently was like yoga and Pilates, which I had never really done before. Like for me, it's always been cardio and running and just high intensity, high impact activities. But so I follow this woman, her name's Melissa Wood Health on Instagram. I highly recommend you check her out. She has like 500,000 followers, so she's not gonna like probably, I mean, I don't know, maybe she'll hear this, but she is phenomenal. She's a mother of 2. She went through a similar experience with kind of feeling like she had to do a certain type of workout to, you know, get the body that she wanted or to, you know, feel a certain way, whatever. And then she found, you know, she started this program with a focus on like, you know, she does meditation, but it's yoga and it's Pilates. And first of all, they're great workouts. But the point is, it's something very different and something that I feel like I'm not actively like dripping sweat or feeling like I'm not getting like a good pump in or whatever. But it makes
it's the most bro thing you've ever
I know, right? Fuck yeah, bitch. Gains.
Get that pumping.
But like, it's something that I was intrigued by because I just loved the concept of like, they're short workouts, squeezing them into your day where you can, and it's very focused on mindfulness.
Mindful thinking, yeah.
And first of all, it's improved my flexibility 1,000%, which is great because I'm not a flexible person, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like the other things that I do with more energy and my body feels better. And I'm not beating myself up all the time, but I will be honest with you, even though the workouts are hard, again, it's yoga, so I'm not necessarily dripping sweat and feeling like I just hit the gym for an hour and I'm good, you know? And so I constantly am going through this self-doubt of like, was that enough for the day? Like, should I do something else or whatever? And I'm like, well, no, if that's all you wanted to do and it felt great, then you're good. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not trying to lose weight. But again, I still am at that point in time where that's the focus. And I'm just, it's a process to shift the focus.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. Yeah. And I think, like, just closing out this episode, be careful what you talk about and how you say things when you're with your girlfriends.
Yes.
Or just with anyone. Can we talk about that? Like, be careful about, like, and your insecurities, like, your insecurities come out in your dialogue, whether you know it or not. So when you're with a group of girls and, like, maybe, you know, consistently you notice that your friend is just saying comments about what they're eating or, I feel like blah, blah, blah. Like, acknowledge that. Or I guess if they're saying like, I need to go work out more, I need to do this. And you like acknowledge that. And I guess just be mindful of what you say because a lot of negative self-talk comes from girl groups because they feed off of each other. That negative energy. And I've seen that firsthand. Like, It's like, oh, one girl says something and then, oh, I hate this about my body. Oh, girl, me too. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like it's just like a pity party for no reason. I'm like, no. Mm-mm.
None of that.
No. Like,
it's like
how
that
about
Mean Girls scene. Have you seen that scene in Mean Girls where like they're in the mirror and they're just picking apart their bodies?
Yes.
Like, oh, my shoulders. I can't wear halter tops. I have man shoulders. And then
what does that do?
Like, my hairline is so weird. Like, my nail beds suck. Like, I know it's kind of silly, but like the point is that that's a very real thing that happens.
Yeah.
And
the bird sword.
All right, just go upstairs.
Get
Don't
out
yell.
of here.
You said an hour.
Dude, it's a podcast. I don't know how long it's going to go.
2 hours.
But I was actually going to bring this up, and I think my sister would be okay with me saying this. She's in the other room. She might hear me. But yesterday she made a comment about how many calories she ate.
Mm-hmm.
And it was significantly lower than the amount of calories that I eat in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, I'm a pig, just all these thoughts, like, immediately. And then I stopped myself and I was like, wait. And I walked in and I very, like, calmly said to her, hey, like, please don't talk about that stuff in front of me, because I'm actually not in a very good place with it, and it really upsets me, and it really triggers me. And she didn't, I haven't explained to her what's been going on, so she, didn't know at all.
Yeah.
And
that's totally
like,
okay to say stuff like that. Like, hey, I just don't, I'm going through something and that affected me in this way. Like, that's okay to tell someone.
Yeah, and I mean, she's my sister, she's my best friend, so she's like, oh God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me sooner? That was her first thing. And if someone's like, oh, you're being a baby or you're being sensitive, then like you don't need that person in your life, just so you know. But it's like you said, it's totally okay to let the people around you know, if you're comfortable, like that there are certain things that are said and done, that just really can affect you in ways that you can't necessarily put into words. Right. But enough to say just, hey, don't say that in front of me, please. I would appreciate it.
Or like when you're with your girlfriends, just be like, if they're going around nitpicking, like be courageous enough to be the one that's like, I really like this about you, or like I really like this about myself, or just like flip the energy to positive. Like be that person, because that can change so much. Like don't feed into that. Don't feed into that negative, and don't let your friends feel bad about themselves. There's no time for that. There's no excuses. Like,
life is
don't let that happen.
Too short.
Yeah, don't let that happen.
Again, everything we're saying, I think, is all about undoing the habits that we've been fed for a long time and have been taught is normal or taught is right by society, by social media, by the patriarchy, by many, many different things, many different influences. And just remember that that is not normal, and that does not have to be the norm.
Right.
And it's just a process of deciding, I'm going to actively set that thought aside and undo it.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but it's a choice. So,
And it'll be worth it.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you all for listening and supporting and, being loyal to us. It means a lot. We are so happy to obviously be back recording weekly episodes for you guys. And we actually just switched over to, you probably heard in the beginning of the episode, but we just switched over to Anchor. Mm-hmm. So Anchor has been amazing. It's been opened so many doors for us. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
What else do we have in the future?
We have we literally had a Zoom call. We're on a Zoom call now. We had a FaceTime call on Monday, and we've loaded up our planners. We have lots of amazing guests coming very soon. We won't spoil it for you, but I feel like we're finally getting into a routine now, that a quarantine, distance, whatever you want to call it, routine. Right. And I think Elise and I can speak for Elise when I say that we're both like feeling this momentum and this energy We just did our very first giveaway, which was so awesome. So thank you to everyone that entered that giveaway. That was awesome. We're now at 800 followers on Instagram, so that's amazing. And we're going to have more content coming out soon, more blog posts. I posted a new one today, FYI, and it's about the period of transitioning that a lot of us in our 20s are in right now. And so check that out. That was posted today, which won't be today when this episode comes out, but whatever.
It'll be up on the site.
It'll be up.
thisisyour20s.com.
Yes. I mean, I just think we're kind of getting the hang of this whole thing, feels like, and
again,
big things are in the mix. So just stay tuned. Yes,
stay tuned.
And please, as always, let us know if there's anything that you want us to talk about. You can reach us on Instagram is at thisisyour.20s. Twitter is thisisyour_20s. thisisyour20s@gmail.com is our email, and then thisisyour20s.com is our website, and it has all of our social media, our YouTube, everything that you could ever need in one place. Makes it super easy. So check us out and get in touch, please.
Yeah. Also, let us know if anything from this episode stood out to you or helped you in any way. That means a lot to us because that's our goal. We want to help people and we want to help you live a better life. So let us know what struck you or what stuck with you throughout the day.
Yeah.
So,
or any tips and tricks that you have that you've found helpful. I would love to hear anything and everything. So we can gain the same help from you that hopefully, you gain from us. So
yes, all love. Thank you so
all
much.
love, baby.
Alrighty, you ready? You may not have your shit figured out,
But that's okay.
This is your 20s.
Yeah,
Bye,
baby.
y'all.